Welcome to Made for More podcast, where faith and personal growth converge. I'm Julia, and I'm honored to guide you on a journey of empowerment and transformation alongside our occasional co-host, Omar. We are passionate believers and advocates for unlocking your God-given full potential. Join us as we explore the intersection of faith, life, business, and relationships, igniting a fire within to embrace the truth that your life is destined for greatness. Together, we'll uncover strategies, insights, and stories that inspire and equip you to become the best version of yourself. Get ready to embark on a fulfilling quest towards personal and professional fulfillment, guided by faith and the unwavering belief that you, my friend, are made for more. Hello. Welcome back to another episode of Julia Keeps It Real. I am so excited and thrilled. Trying to get Kindal Burke-Brewer to sit down and sit for like 30 minutes to a podcast episode. It's probably like, okay, you got to, schedule it on her calendar. I'm glad that she took the time out for us to kind of pour into us today, you guys. I've known Kindal for, years now, right?
Absolutely.
And I have been on her team. We work together as leaders. And I just know that she's somebody that is a queen at pouring into people and dropping values and tips. And I just said, we got to get her on the show. So without further ado, everybody, this is Kindal Burke-Brewer. Hey.
It is so cool that I know where we started together in the field, learning our craft and our industry together. Then got the opportunity to work side by side, launching a new brand, and for it to come full circle and me to get to be here with you today and seeing what you're doing, the value you're bringing to people. It's just exciting, and it's an honor to be here with you.
Thank you. All right. So Kindal in Kentucky, in small town, it's so hard to honestly picture that with you, to be honest, because you're so bold and bright and colorful. So every time you will mention small town, I have to remember oh yeah, she's from a small little town. So kind of just tell us how did you get to this point? Because I do know I have friends that listen in and they're from small towns too, or they're from somebody I did a coaching call with was I'm a part of the Farmers of America or something. I don't even know what she's talking about. And I know you probably know because she's from that area. And I just kind of want to know, what did it take for you to kind of be this version of Kindal?
It's a great question because there are a lot of times I'll ask myself the same thing. When we actually take time to pause and reflect on how we've evolved or grown, it can be quite, it can be a moment of pride, but it can also be a moment of, wow, how did this actually happen?
Yeah.
And I'm lucky because the town, even though it's small that I grew up in, also really, really celebrated individuality and us embracing, our true gifts and talents, which for me, as you know, started in education. Mm-hmm. And network marketing only popped up as an idea for a hobby, something on the side for me to reconnect with who I am. And what ended up happening is the true piece of networking that is there in this industry that I love so much started bringing out pieces of me and skills in me and interest and passions in me that I started applying one step at a time. And it was really through the power of people. Mm-hmm. Through the power of some amazing coaches and mentors, people like you, so many others that we could sit here and name drop, that poured into me to take that next step, right? To take that first step in evolving whatever I brought to the table. Mm-hmm. And so when I look at it as a full package, that's the beauty of this industry, the fact that we can be impacted and influenced by so many positive, goal-driven people that are unlike us.
Right.
And so they sort of challenge us to step out of that traditional role. And as it grew for me, I love education and I'm passionate about teaching. But as it grew, I realized I can take these skills and apply them to an entirely new area on a whole new level. So I am who I am today ironically, because of all the people that have been a part of my journey, and the process of truly networking.
Yeah, I love that. And it's such a tagline. Like people would say, like, network marketing is a it's personal development plan with a compensation. And when you really take the time to think about that, like when I look at the person I was 10 years ago before network marketing to now, sure, I probably would have grown through, career jobs and life and things like that. But the amount that we had to step out of our comfort zone and, like you said, network with people, find people that are different than us, go hop on a plane by yourself to a convention, all those things that kind of slowly make up who you are. And so I've even seen that development in you. You've always been fierce and strong, but over time, I've even seen your confidence settle and just like, I don't really care if people like this or not. I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do. And I love that about you. So I just kind of want to talk about a little bit, you and I both have gone down, there's some heavy parts of network marketing and not so much fun parts, but the good is always what keeps me going, or what would keep me going. But kind of tell me, because we've gone from different companies to different companies. You think you found your quote unquote home, but just kind of how do you do it? How do you literally make it to the top of every company you've been a part of? How do you, I know grit is a part of that, but just how, and I remember one time, even whenever we moved from one, makeup to skincare, you said, hey, I don't have all these people that are coming with me. Like you were rebuilding, but you did it. Like you rebuilt it again. I can't even list all your accolades, but I'm sure you could list some of them more than me. But 6-figure earner, top in business, number one seller, number one recruiter. That's something that's very common for you. And so for people that are like, how does Kindal do it? I know it's grit. I know it takes some time and consistency, but just what value or what nuggets can you drop for us on that today?
A piece of it is embracing that this industry is probably going to be fluid for most people. I didn't know that in the beginning. I thought you had to choose a quote unquote home and you stayed loyal there and you developed only there. Once I started realizing that this industry works like any skill set or career, and that if you're willing to learn and grow and adapt, and then on that next move, take that experience and that knowledge to knock yourself up just one more level, to take that one, like I said earlier, that one step up. That alone helps you create another level of success or another layer of success that you couldn't see previously. And so every time that I've moved, I took not only the valuable knowledge and experience I had, but again, pulling from all those conversations, all those diverse people around me, I was able to take all of that and apply it to, this is the next level of launching a team. This is my next level of increasing those sales or increasing this recruiting. Beyond that, and you were a part of this journey, I started seeing that very simple systems, or a better word I like to use, habits. And you're the one that taught me this. There's a difference in motivation and discipline, understanding that if I could create daily and weekly habits that I worked in my business and especially on my mindset, that every day would be a level up, right?
Yeah.
And so as I have evolved, I think the two most important things is I've started to embrace the change, that leaving a company for another company is not a negative. It's only going to be that if we allow it to be. So I'm able to use what I know to improve that next step. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, committing myself to not talking about it, but being about it. Mm. I went from opening a phone and scrolling social media to opening my phone and having those 3 non-negotiables before I ever do anything else. Not coaching people on mindset without taking my own advice and spending each morning 15 minutes journaling. It's the small habits. And I believe, honestly, Julia, if we could get people at whatever level they're on to take ownership of their journey, that it really is their business. It's theirs. There's no upline, downline, sideline. They own this. And they can start to recognize, here's where I am. These are the 3 areas of need, right? And here's the task. Here are the new habits I'm creating to meet them and help them see it's one step at a time. I think it's possible for everybody. The last piece I'll mention on that, and I'll be quick about it so we can cover a lot of different things, is I do think there's a tendency in our industry to see one group of people and assume that we have to present as that group of people presents because it's the group we see succeeding. And one of the things that I've done from the jump was embraced my authenticity, transparency. And I knew from the beginning, some people are going to be attracted to that and some people are not. Some people are going to like me and some are not.
Right.
And I think when you come out authentic, you automatically get seen as bold in a world of social media where we can get really counterfeit culture. We can get caught up in it. So if we could also get people to see that what they bring to the table is enough,
right?
That they're worthy the second they say yes, and celebrate that in how they run their business, we would see a lot of people winning and growing.
Yeah, that's so good. So many nuggets. I was trying to jot a couple down and I was like, oh, that was good. We gotta go back to that. I love the daily habits because it goes back to action. What creates habits are actions. And I think so often people get stuck. And the reason why they get stuck is because they're not, like you said, like you're telling your team, go do this, but are you leading by example? And I even sometimes will have to go and listen to my own podcast because a lot of times I even say, I'm preaching this, but it's for me too. And every now and then I'm like, oh, I needed to hear that myself, like hear myself say that so I can implement those things too, because it's so much easier to talk it than to actually walk it. It's easy for people to say, just have faith, it's going to happen. Just go and be, but it's harder to do that. And which leads me into the part where you mentioned ownership. I've had a lot of coaching conversations with some females that are really doing a lot of comparison. And I know, once again, it's easier said than done because I've been in that state too. But I think that when you have ownership, that comparison dwindles because so many people are like, well, I need my upline to do this, or I'm waiting. What are we waiting on? And you know this about me. I was very much like, I'm going to have ownership. I don't need corporate. I don't need upline. I don't need sideline. Like, we're going to do it. And once you turn that switch on, like you said, no matter what level you're at in business, you start to have more pride and you start to be the leader you're trying to be. And then I think that's where the ownership comes in and less comparison. So I thought that was so beautiful. I never really put it into words like that until you just said that. But I'm like, that is exact ownership in you, your team, whatever, your products, your business. So I love that. And then I wanted to touch on the one group of people. Kind of, what did you mean, maybe for the people in the back that are like, what does she mean by like one group of people that we see them winning and that's all? Like, can you give us a little bit more on that?
Absolutely. We live in a results-driven world, right? So, and this industry, this social selling, network marketing, whatever you want to call it, it's a results-driven industry. And so typically what we see are top sellers, top recruiters, those ranking to those top ranks, the bonus earners, the trips. And I think what happens is that group, that particular group, while that's incredible and it should be celebrated, becomes a standard that people self-impose. That we say, okay, Julia, it is the trip earner. Julia is one of the top ranks. She's a top earner. So let me go see what Julia is doing. And instead of just being inspired by it, let me duplicate it. And then what's happening, we have all these wannabes, right, running around, putting the work in, putting the effort in, and at the end of the day saying, why isn't this working? Why isn't it resonating? And really, it's simple. It is go see what Julia is doing. You need to go see what Kindal's doing. Let's see how they work. And then it's got to be about, how does that fit into what I'm trying to do? Mm-hmm. How does that fit in with the network I'm starting with, right? How do I build that network out? How do I build my business in the vision that I see it? Because another problem is that everybody's not here to be a six-figure earner. Everybody's not here to be a millionaire. And I almost feel like the industry, or maybe it's us, we've created a space where that's the only way to win. That's the only definition of winning in this industry now. If people would just own that $200, $400 check is their top level and celebrate that authentically, number one, they would see more success and attract like-minded people. But number two, at the end of the day, like you said, they'd be proud of what they're doing.
Oh, so true. Because I can't tell you how many people will be like, well, I only make like a couple hundred, but I look at this person and their check is, who cares? What do you want? Do you want the 2K? Okay, fine. But do you just want that because, like you're saying, that's what is like in your face and that's what's displayed and that's what gets the accolades? So that's so true. I don't know. I hope that the people that are listening into this will find some peace about that, because I felt like I personally had just had this like sense of like relief when you said that. And I hope that somebody listening in just felt that they needed to hear that it's okay if that's their top to be their top and to celebrate that and be happy about that.
Well, and too, when you were saying that, you're dead on. My first paycheck was $54 and it changed my life. I thought it was $54 I didn't have before I said yes. Yeah. And then the 54 became 100. Yep. And that was incredible. And I shouted that from the rooftops. And then 100 became 200. And you know this, I'm proud to tell people it took 4 years for me. It wasn't an overnight. What people see of me now is not where I was 10 years ago. Right. So 200, if that's the top, be it, celebrate it, own it. Look for those people that need that will change their lives with that. And if you get there and you're still hungry, take that 2 and make it 4. This idea that we've got to go from 0 to 6 figures, that's not even realistic in the 9 to 5. It's not reality anywhere. Right.
I love that. So Kindal, you transition and you can share however much you want to with this, because I know you've gone public about it, but just kind of, it's interesting how I probably would have never guessed that I would have moved into the space of servicing more than products and growing a team. And you're technically now moving into corporate and servicing. And maybe, a lot of people are still in this network marketing space, but tell us, how did this transition come about and how do you plan on still serving network marketers and things like that?
Yeah, when I was considering VIC and really made the decision and did the research, I knew, I had landed on that official answer of, okay, I'm going to do this. I knew that this would be my last build in the industry for me, and that I had sort of tapped out on the end of the selling and team building. And just like we talked about and referenced earlier, and the same thing has actually happened with you, as you evolve in this industry, the beautiful part is it sort of uncovers your true passion, where you really want to spend your energy. When I got to VIC, I saw so much potential with an industry that is shifting and evolving, that this company was really matching beat by beat the very fast transformation. So I knew that I wanted to share that with as many people as I could. And fortunately, locked arms with so many people who had been watching me that I had never even got to speak to, which was the first cool thing that happened. Mm-hmm. And as we were growing the company and I was getting involved on the corporate end with feedback and training suggestions and how that all works, I started seeing a need on the corporate level for a field advocate, for a liaison between all of these incredible leaders we had attracted from all these different genres in the industry, for there to be a voice from someone that could say, here's what they're needing, here's what their solutions are. Let's put this into action and create it company wide. So I actually pitched myself several months into the team build, and that's the first time I've ever done that. I would have never done that had it not been for this industry.
Yeah.
And they saw the need for it, immediately. And so the beautiful part is I'm doing all of my favorite things: coaching, still recruiting, still helping to develop and build. But instead of having to split my time now with that sales path, I'm able, just like you, we're able to pull back there and pour everything we've got into other people. Mm-hmm. And it's been the hardest transition in a career move that I've ever had. But I can tell you right now, I am beaming when I lay down at night. I am beaming to know that even if it's that small influence or that small impact, that I'm getting to pour my heart and soul into it,
Yeah, I love that. I'm so proud of you and happy for you. I thought whenever you mentioned that, I said, oh, this was in the cards. This was in the cards for you, to eventually get to that level of just, hey, and I love that you pitched it and they obviously saw the need as well. So that's amazing. We talked a little bit about diversifying, businesses, not even really just your company with Vic, but just in general. And I've had, a plethora of people I coach from different races, my age, older, younger. So that's what's really cool too. And one woman of color said to me, well, I just don't see a lot of us. And I said, well, yes and no. Some of that, they are out there. My cousin is in business and I don't even know, a tea company, and she's technically a millionaire. But I don't, her, people don't know that about her, I meant to say. So they are out there, but it's like finding a needle in a haystack a little bit. And she's in makeup, which I remember the struggle was more in makeup than in skincare, about finding the right shades and knowing how to market. And I was having literally PTSD when I was doing my coaching call with her, because it's just been a while since I've had to go down that path of thinking about color shades and all that. So just kind of tell me a little bit, because I know Vic is makeup and skincare, and y'all have to think about, the beauty industry for all shades and all people. And just, that's something that's kind of always, I felt like, been a passion project of yours. I remember 4 or 5 years ago, you reached out and you're like, let's do a graphic with all the women of color in limelight and let me help, get the word out. And I just have always loved your heart for that. So just kind of tell us a little bit about why that is a passion of yours.
And you were instrumental in helping me see some of the most basic mistakes that I and so many others make. I'll never forget this one. I was talking about asking, I believe it was you, I know it was you, asking you, why am I not attracting diversity? Why is this not happening? How do I do better? And you gave a quick scan of my social media and you're like, you've never even shared a picture of a woman of color for foundation or bronzer or blush. And it never even dawned on me that I was only marketing to one group of people. Why would anybody else respond if everybody looks the exact same? And I think my passion to learn more and to continue evolving, which is where I still am in this area, is twofold. One, my daughter, my bonus daughter is biracial. And one of the things I noticed early on when I was working with you and so many of those women is that Taryn was seeing me do this and operate and promote up through the top of the company, but yet there was no one that looked like her doing that. And I had lived under this assumption, well, I'm her mom. That'll work. That should be enough. But it's not. It's not enough. And the struggle that I saw with shade matching, representation, support from communities, the ability to rank up, that there was such an addition. It's already so challenging for all of us. Mm-hmm. But you add on these additional complicated layers and at that time, I didn't really feel like the industry was open to hear that or to learn about that or evolve it. I couldn't imagine, the difficulty and how down you might feel from time to time to think, is this even possible for me? Am I able to even get there? And it's been that way even as I've moved companies.
Yeah.
When I got to work with you so directly and see the skill sets that you brought to the table, and then I looked across all of the companies that I knew of, that I had connections to, and I didn't see one place with a regional or a direct to corporate or a top leader that was any other shade except white.
Yeah.
I thought there is a massive, I might not understand the depth of the problem or how to solve it, but there is a massive issue here and I need to be part of the change. Mm. And that's why, I sort of tried to recruit you.
I'm like, no, sister, but I appreciate that. And I love your heart. Like I said, I love your heart for that, because it takes somebody oftentimes that's not in it to help bring it out and to bring awareness and to help get to that next level. It takes somebody that can see that. You can even go back to history. It took abolitionists and people that were like, hey, I'm not in it, but I see where I want you to go and I'm going to help get you there. And so it takes people like you. And so I will forever love your heart for that, and to be able to see it and want to continue to learn and grow. And again, it's everybody. Like, I have to learn and grow in other areas as well. And I have other privileges, even being a Black woman, that some of my other Black women don't have. Like, I grew up decently well, house at the pool, 2 parents in the house. And so it's just a lot of things that I think in life that makes us who we are, but we also have to kind of figure out, well, there is more to life than what made us. So how can we get to know a little bit more? And I think the more that we spend time doing that, the better we become as people too. So I've seen that growth in you since those times whenever we were sideline sisters in our company to who you are now. And it's like, wow, you could tell that you've taken that time to grow and learn and be better with that too.
Yeah, I think meeting people, it goes back to the counterfeit culture. And really that's not on purpose. That happens accidentally. But if we can get that one person to break that mold, to insert themselves into the conversation, then all of a sudden we're actually meeting people where they are. Mm-hmm. Like you said, are we even really using language and strategies and approaches that are talking to a real woman? A woman that has a ton of challenges and obstacles in front of her, that has overcome so much that a lot of us cannot even understand or begin to understand. Are we really finding the true meaning and purpose in this industry? And do we actually have strategies and approaches where we're carrying out what it's supposed to be? And that's why I'm excited about evolving in my position and what I'm going to be able to do, even though it's going to be just that small chunk with this company. This industry is good. You referenced it earlier. It comes with a lot of, in the moment, negative experiences that later turn into learning and growth. But if we can take the good parts of what this offers and turn it into a reality for more than just one group of people, then we're really starting to create change. It's no longer a hashtag or a campaign. It's real life. And I believe we can,
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up, I mean, I feel like I gotta utilize you while I have you. So if you need to take a second. But what is one last tip, whether it's a life tip, business tip, or you can do, more than one if you really want to, that you can just share with us before we leave today? And then we'll also let people know how they can connect with you. But just kind of what's one thing that you feel like is one of your favorite tips?
Honestly, I sort of knew as soon as you said it, and it's not going to be anything super deep or poetic. In life, in business, in family, in career, you name it, women especially, we think we have to eat the entire elephant. Mm. We think it has to be from 0 to 1,000, from A to Z, that the check has to go from 0 to $1,000, that the second we become a mom, we're supposed to have it all figured out, right? Yeah. That the second we enter our career teaching or as a nurse or working as a cashier, that we have to be the absolute best at it right then. Mm-hmm. That if we're in that place of anxiety or depression or find bad financial choices, that it can't become a process, that we're expected to figure all that out. And I did that for a very, very long time behind the scenes in my personal life. So my tip would be turn down the volume on what everybody else is posting or saying or sharing on their highlight reel. Remember, that's a highlight reel for all of us. Turn the volume down on that and sit down with yourself and ask yourself, what are those long-term goals that need to change in my life and my business career? And then what is the first step to take me there? And let me become a master and expert of that first step. Mm-hmm. And once I slay that step, I'll take step 2. Mm-hmm. To me, that it changed the trajectory of my mental well-being, my success in business. It changed a lot for me. Yeah, that's a good one. I'm living that because, I mentioned to you before the call when we were chatting, career paths, like, I don't know. And this is where, to me, God taps in, because God doesn't always reveal our whole plan. He's just saying, hey, I'm not going to show you the whole staircase. I just want you to trust me and have faith in that first step. And then take that next step. And before you know it, I'm going to reveal a little bit more. Yep. You're on the right path. You're in alignment. You're walking in your purpose. Now you see where we're at. And so that's kind of my go-to. And I love that you mentioned it here because I needed that reminder today. Yes.
I don't have to have all the answers in business. I don't have to have all the answers in life, in dating, in career. I just need to take my next step. And that's absolutely what I want to encourage everyone listening today. What is your next step? So thank you, Kindal. Tell us, I know you're, listen, it took a while for you to get on TikTok, but now you're like slaying TikTok. So kind of tell us your hashtag. I'll put your name in the show notes because the way you spell Kindal is different for some people, and Burke-Brewer. So I will put that in the show notes for people. But if you have any handles for like your TikTok, if you know, or Instagram, let us know, because now you're like a TikTok queen. And you were so
well, I fell off. You've hopped me up now, and they're going to go and see that I fell off for a while, Juliet. The hard part is what you said, the spelling of my name. The good news is, if you figure that out, that's how you're going to find me across everything. That's true. So once you figure out Kindal Burke-Brewer, you're going to be able to find me across social media channels. And I can't believe it took me so long with TikTok. Julie, I'm so mad at myself right now for that.
You did so well. I was like, no wonder she goes in there and starts killing it after, like, I don't know how to do it. And I'm like, you're doing it, like, all the way doing it. The dances, making your own dances. And I'm like, this was so you. Like, TikTok is hilarious like you. So I'm glad, even if you fell off, I'm glad you had a moment of TikTok because it was meant for you. So
Absolutely. And you know what I did? I did the one step. I was trying to eat the whole thing as if I had to figure it all out in a day. I took that first step, and man, the dances are so much fun.
there you go. One step at a time. So Kindal,
Yeah.
Kindal. And like I said, I'll put it in the show notes so y'all can follow her. Even if you just need, what I love about Kindal too, is just, if you just need a dose of motivation for the day, she's got that spunk, that spark, and that reminder for people most days on her timeline. So definitely follow her, check out her next moves, and use that for inspiration. But thank you again for being here. I really appreciate you.
It was an honor, Julia. Thank you.
Thank you.